it is against the royal and honourable purpose of law to call or accuse an innocent person of being guilty of a crime for being healthy and not having a virus problem. Those of you who conduct your thoughts of action in this world among all nations, those who are prominent leaders among all nations, are insulting the honourable purpose of law simply because you people do not understand the honourable principles of manhood that are connected with the honourable and righteous and royal purpose of law, that connects with the honourable meaning of life relative to the honourable meaning of freedom, liberty, and joy among one another. Those of you who conduct yourselves in this way insult the royal purpose of truth because you do not understand the royal and righteous and honourable meaning of life that connects with the honourable principles of manhood and royal purpose of law. You cannot fool righteousness. You cannot fool the royal meaning of truth. You cannot fool the royal purpose of law. You cannot fool the honourable principles of manhood. And you cannot fool the holy and righteous throne of God. And when I speak of God, I'm not speaking of the understandings along the lines of naivety or religious ignorance in this world. I'm speaking from the Spirit of truth, whereby it is clearly seen within righteousness your actions of the blind leading the blind to the ditch ahead, and making it appear as though you assume to know the purpose of knowledge, which you do not. Medical science is not the law. Through the process of scientific rules, which many would like to call the law in this world, but medical science is a self-confessed godless entity which really needs to turn toward the profound knowledge of God, rather than that science remains bound or in bondage to its self-imposed limitations that reject the profound knowledge of God by which the royal purpose of law is known and understood, and wherethrough this conversation taking place at present, or communication I should say, is from the point of view of righteous seeing, that boys not of manhood, assuming to be men of manhood in this world, do not understand. And science, medical science, or science in all areas, you are not truth. You are simply accumulated knowledge expansion, but not truth. For the royal meaning and purpose of truth is of God. And I will sign this as John 16, verse 8 and 14 in the old book of these and thous, and not the modern versions, which in many cases are being deliberately distorted. And even though the old version of the Bible, with the these and thous, has removed from it some of those important things that exist in a vault relative to the honourable and royal meanings of freedom, at least this old version is still strongly accurate in some areas where modern version writers have not influenced the meanings to the extent that meanings have been influenced these days by writers who, as boys not of manhood, in not knowing the honourable principles of manhood, do not know the royal purpose of truth and royal purpose of law, but the law of God. And I say these things not in ignorance, but within knowing. It is time in this world for those prominent leaders among all nations, which includes chief scientists, to turn toward and seek to live within the honourable principles of manhood, by which the correct use of knowledge is able to be understood, rather than that boys not of manhood use knowledge in blindness, but relative to their own assumptions as to how things should be in this world. It is written in the old book, and of Yeshua, the Messiah, that the blind lead the blind to the ditch ahead. And so it is. The royal purpose of law does not condone the ignorance of man assuming itself in high places of being the honourable meaning of truth and law. Those who conduct themselves in the manner that they do within their boys not of manhood thoughts shall pay the price. Truth is not of man, nor his science, nor his technology, but of God, the royal throne of God.